Well, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me here today. Well, I want to give you a bit of a drone update from the tri-state area. I happened to be driving through here last Friday night through New Jersey on my way to New York for some family business. And I was going by Paterson area. Just around 7 o'clock. Paterson, New Jersey is just to the northeast of the Morristown area where there have been a lot of, so-called drone sightings and so forth. So I'm looking through the window. I'm on 80. I'm going to have dinner with some friends up in the Oradell area. And I just see these blinking lights come by, and my first thought is, well, it's blinking lights, Jersey plane, and I'm on the lookout for something anomalous, but that's the first thing my mind says. Then I look at it again, and I'm thinking, well, those lights are kind of strange looking. Hey, maybe it's one of the drones. Then it comes a little closer, and it kind of looks like a plane, and then I kind of see it right off to the left side. This is just north of I-80, I'd say the object, alleged plane, if you want to call it that, maybe a quarter mile to the north of I-80 over the Paterson Main Street exit. I think exit 57, 58, something like that. And so I look at it again and I realize the lights don't look quite right for any airplane that I'm used to seeing. And it's awfully low. And when I rolled the window down, I had, time to do that. I could just see it straight out. I didn't hear any sounds. And it seemed awfully low for an airplane, and it was flying level. Now, there is Teterboro Airport is several miles to the east of there in the direction of the Hudson River. But, planes taking off from there, they're going to be going at a very steep angle. To get to a higher altitude, it's sort of required of planes because of noise abatement and so forth, just to kind of reach a highest altitude as possible. So they're usually going up. This was going straight and level. When I looked at the Flight Radar 24 app later on, there were just no planes that would fit the description of what I saw, which is something about maybe 1,000 feet up off the ground, slow, maybe like highway car speed. I can see why people call them like flying cars, because it was going like at a car speed. And this is what was really strange about it. It had wings. It looked like a scaled down version of a 737, or maybe something like a Gulfstream jet, Learjet, something like that. But it just didn't seem to be going fast enough, from my experience, to be really a plane. It seemed more like it was gliding. And, I'm going east and it's going west, and still it just wasn't moving very quickly. And it had lights in a kind of pattern that I just haven't seen before. The lights below what would have been the cockpit were kind of in a strip, going from the front to the back of the plane. There was a red strobe type light directly behind that under the cockpit, but it seemed extremely bright. It wasn't just like a strobe going around like this. I mean, it was a really bright light, and that was the main thing about this alleged plane. It just looked really bright. It seemed, even the tail, it just was all lit up in these different ways. So, again, the Flight Radar app did not show anything even remotely like that. I couldn't even find any flights north of I-80 at around 7:05 p.m. I was able to timestamp it because I immediately I texted some friends. I mean, I didn't take the phone off the dashboard. I just used Siri in my phone to send a voice text. And so I could see that I sent those at, 7:10 p.m. So this would have been just a couple minutes before that. I'm going at highway speeds about 60 miles an hour. And that's why I couldn't take a photo of it. For those who wondered, picture, Simeon, yeah, it's a great idea. But when you're driving on I-80 in New Jersey, other cars are around. It's just not safe. With all the things you have to do with most phones nowadays to turn them into photo mode, it wasn't something I could really safely do at the time. And I didn't really want to take my eyes off what I was looking at. Which I would have had to have done if I had even decided to pull over to the side of the road. So I saw it go by, but then what happened was it just made a 90-degree turn, like you would expect from a glider, not from a plane going 200 knots or something like that. And so it's going along, and I'm seeing it, starting to see behind. You want to keep your eyes on the wheel, but all of a sudden it just makes this 90-degree turn just like that. It wasn't a completely flat turn. It banked slightly, but then all of a sudden it's just going north. If you can find something on flight radar from December 13th at 7:05 p.m. that did that, I'm open to your alternative interpretation. But it was really quite strange, and it even led me to call the FBI tips line, since they said they were interested in these objects. Knock it off, you. So, in any case, I don't know what that was, but it seemed to fit the description of other people seeing planes going low, very bright, and seemed more like in the gliding mode than in a flying mode. Okay. And I happened to talk to some people here a couple days ago. Friend from many years back, Dom, and someone he knows, Justin, and they shared their sightings. Dom, right by his home, we'll look at the video of that while he's talking, and Justin shared his sighting over this area too. And so these are just two local people that saw objects that, don't look like anything that are easily explainable. In Dom's video, you're going to see them like hovering, and they don't seem to have typical lights that you're used to. The aircraft here usually, go from, like aircraft anywhere, from one direction of the sky across to the other direction. Then maybe they're in their final descent. They're making a curve. These don't seem to be doing any of that. So take a look, and you can hear what some other local people have said about their sightings just within the past few days. So, hey, we're talking to Justin and Dom about some of the sightings in Westchester. So, Justin, you and I talked actually about a year ago about the Hudson Valley sighting that you might have had. It was a January 79 or?
Christmas time,
79. Yeah, we had talked about this. You might have seen out your window as a possibility. Just as a little intro here before we talk about the drone.
Yeah, it was.
You're not a newcomer to this. That's what I'm suggesting.
No, it was. It was very real to me. Could have been a dream, but I remember walking from my room out to the hallway where there's a roof door, and opening the door, and it was just there hovering, and lights and all kinds of it just was lit up the whole sky, and I just stood there in awe. And it was brief. It was a few seconds, and then it just kind of descended and.
What was the shape of it?
It looked like a UFO that you would have seen on TV in 1980.
Yeah. Got it.
It was saucer-like.
Right. This is around the time that Vinny from our high school class had his sighting over Mamaroneck High School.
There was just so many lights. I just remember.
It's interesting. You can't remember because, this is often the case. I've talked to people that are not sure if it was a dream or it's that feeling.
It felt real.
Even with multiple witnesses, it could feel dreamlike.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So,
what? I was little. I was 4 or 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old.
It's hard. Yeah, it's going way back. What did you see recently? So we're talking here December 2024. What did you see in terms of the dronescape recently?
Sunday, which was what, the 12th? 8th, sorry. I was coming home from work at about 2:45 a.m. and coming up Underhill towards the golf course. When I got to the crest, just before coming down, I could see what I thought initially was a plane, but then as I'm coming down the hill, I realized that's a little low for a plane, maybe.
Right.
And it was traveling north basically across my full view. And it stopped. So then I was like, that's not a plane. If it's a plane, we could be in trouble.
Just stopped.
It just stopped and then went
Back the
other way. So then I turned to my cousin and Jacob was like, what is that? And it's got to be a drone. It looks like a drone, but not a toy drone. It was, probably the size of a car, if my depth perception is, judging that correctly. And it looked like it was over probably, if not the Springbrook, maybe the Sawmill Parkway going north, and then, somewhere in that channel. And then as we came down the hill and, through Ardsley, it started going west and then disappeared into the tree line like it was going over the Hudson River. And then that was it. And then this past, was that Friday night we spoke? Thursday night, around 11:45-ish, 11:30, 11:45. I was working and we were talking about it. My phone was blowing up and everybody was saying they saw something. Don was texting that he was spotted one. He sent video, was over his house. So I went outside just to take a look to see if there was anything else out. And all the way south, over the end of Central Avenue, I could see what I perceived to be drones because they were hovering. They were not flying. Definitely planes, even further out, probably, out where the airports are. And you could easily identify. They had, they weren't, they didn't have the same lighting patterns as an airplane. They were bright but far off and just hovering at an altitude.
Wow.
And then they just kind of...
That would have been over like Yonkers or something in that direction?
Yeah, over Yonkers or definitely Yonkers. I don't know that it would have been any further south than that.
Central Avenue right there.
Yeah.
So we're definitely talking Westchester, Yonkers.
Absolutely. And then I got a call from a friend that Sunday night. I saw the drone who lives in Yorktown, and he had 4 fly past his backyard.
In Yorktown, northern...
And he
Central,
said they were traveling
West.
southwest, and then, Don mentioned the reservoir thing. So he's just above the Croton Reservoir. So
he saw them right over the Croton Reservoir.
They were headed in that direction.
Headed in that direction. There's interesting. So, Don, what did you see the other night? You're talking with Justin. You see something too.
Yeah, well, it was really fascinating. Was you had called me that day? It was Thursday the 12th, and you said you were coming in, and then we got on a conversation on the drones.
Yeah.
So I was out Thursday night, and when I came home, it was about a little bit after 10, and went into my bedroom. I looked out the window, and lo and behold, I saw drones. I called you up. I go, those drones we were talking about? I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah.
And, I took some videotape, and there was typically a grouping of 4 directly west of my house. And then there was a singular one that came out from the southwest, and it seemed to have a repetitive flight pattern because between 10 to 15 minutes it would reappear around the same spot again and, take a similar route by my house. And the one that, was by my house, that's the one that obviously I got a better look at. I saw wings on it. I would say it was probably about 12 feet long, 8 feet across, give or take.
Yeah.
And completely silent.
Completely silent.
Yeah. But lots of, blinking lights around it.
Yeah, and you showed me some video from this, and these are clearly objects that are close up. Some of them coming pretty much right over your property, right?
Well, the one that came out from the south definitely flew over my property. The other ones stayed to the west, but they had very interesting flight patterns. I have a video, 2 of them almost coming together. And then there's another one, maybe 50 feet, 75 feet above those 2. So it's kind of a weird pattern. those were not operating in any unison, it seemed. Like they would go back and forth. Sometimes even the lights would turn off. Like I saw one would be coming from the south and going north, and when it was exactly west of me, the light would go off and for about 5 seconds, and I'd pick it up again. So, but they seem more haphazard, whereas the singular one seemed to have a pattern because it was showing up every 10 to 15 minutes.
So we've heard this kind of argument just today that these are objects that are searching for something, but it sounds like what you're describing are pretty haphazard for something doing an organized search.
Yeah, there was no coordinated pattern. It would seem that if it was looking for something, they were deploying a very inefficient method of looking for it. You would think that they would be moving in unison, and I could understand them crisscrossing an area just to do a double on it, but it's not what was going on at all.
Right.
We were too close to each other. See that? Now it's like one's on top of the other.
Could it be that they weren't searching for something, that maybe they had already found something and they were tracking it?
The only thing is that's kind of weird in that you have so many in one
area.
spot. Like you would think that, these things are really sophisticated. There's no noise. They were up for a long time. So you would think one would be able to, handle anything,
And the ones that you saw, Dom, were kind of yellow, whitish from the videos.
Yeah. There was like a yellow, white, you could describe it either which way, white, yellowish light or a yellowish white light. The ones that were in the west you saw the red, blinking on it. But they definitely had a continuous light pattern, as if it was like an FAA type thing. Which is also strange to the discussion, because if somebody was up to nefarious purposes, why wouldn't they just shut off the lights?
Right.
That's what you see. You see the lights at night. If there was no lights, I never would have been able to pick out anything, nor would anybody else.
What do you say to the argument that I've heard from people I know in the White House is saying these are misidentified airplanes?
No. The
No
one,
chance.
No chance.
No, the one that came by my house did have wings, but they were shaped different than an airplane. And an airplane, unless they figured out something new, can't fly that slow.
Can't fly that slow. Hello.
The one I saw, it stopped and went back almost like
Stopped on a dime, went back the other way.
Right back the other way.
And the video that I have, there's two drones coming together and they stop. So planes don't do that. So
Planes don't do that.
Unless they figured out something that Orville Wright didn't come up with.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for the update. So there you have it from some local witnesses. As usual, I'm interested to hear your reactions. What do you think? Is this easily explainable? Is it something really different? Is it our stuff? Is it their stuff? Anyway, whatever you think, put your comments in the box below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care for now, and bye.